Okay. Hi, Jim. How are you?
I'm okay, I guess.
Well, what's going on? You don't sound like you're okay.
Well, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here, but
Okay.
my doctor sent me over. He was telling me that I needed to come see you, and I guess I've been feeling some type of way.
Well, has anything changed recently? Anything going on?
Well, I live alone, and I've been I'm not much of a people person, and
Okay.
I feel like just keep to myself pretty much, me and the dog, and
Okay.
feeling just really just lately suffering from some real unbearable loneliness, which is kind of
Oh.
surprising to me because I just don't like to be around people much and
Hmm.
pretty isolative to the house. I like to
Well,
just to myself.
has it always been just you and the dog?
No, no, I was married to my wife about 35 years,
Oh.
maybe even 36. I never really could keep up. And she passed away about 6 months ago. And
Oh, I'm
things
so
have been pretty hard.
sorry. Well, Jim, that's a big change. So she passed away about 6 months ago. Um, I'm sorry. Of course, the phone rings. Um, and you were married for about 36 years?
Yeah, something like that. It was a long time. And, she was a real good wife, and she was around at home all the time. Always here to greet me when I got home from work.
Oh,
And we did everything together. And, the house is just real quiet. She's kind of a chatty Cathy lady, and always making noise, banging pots and pans in the kitchen or doing the wash or whatever. And now there's just nothing. And the
now
dog
it's
don't
just
even
you.
bark.
Oh, that is a big change. It sounds like she was a really nice lady, huh?
Yeah, she was. She was real good lady.
Good marriage.
Hmm.
So this is a very big adjustment, from going from having such a wonderful marriage and now it's you. So do you have any support? Anyone to help you out or that you see? Any kids?
Mm-mm. Um, yeah, we've got a couple kids, two
Okay.
boys and a girl, and they're all grown. They were it was my son and her son and daughter, and we kind of
Okay.
came together. And but they're all busy with their lives and their grandkids. And yeah, I just feel like when I call up, I don't want them to worry. They're already going through the loss of my wife. And so I haven't really, I don't want them to know how I've been feeling and to see me. Some days I forget to eat, and some days I forget to shower, and just been melting in the days at home. Hard to remember if it's light or dark outside. To tell you the truth, I don't leave the house much, but I wasn't feeling so good and started to kind of get dizzy and lightheaded. And so I went into the doctor, and he said I hadn't been eating much. Said
Yeah.
was kind of having some problems, and I've been drinking, and that's been rough. And he said that I had some vitamins that weren't doing right, but the liver was all right. And
Okay.
but I've been, drinking pretty much every night to kind of dull things out when my mind starts racing and
Okay.
go to sleep because it's hard to. I figure if I just get tanked out, kind of back into my old war days when I was
Mm,
much younger. Haven't really drank since then, but
okay.
kind of just been drinking till I go to sleep, pretty much.
So you've been doing what we call self-medicating with some alcohol, and that helps you get to sleep. But some things you're not doing, you're not eating, you're not being able to take care of yourself as much. Sounds like you've been pretty isolated. It sounds like, along with the grief, you're depressed. Would you say that that's a fair statement? Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, I guess. I just feel kind of down, and it's not usually me. I'm very like to be out doing stuff with my hands and up and take care of the house and things like that. I've been retired for about 15 years, so
Oh.
I usually try to keep myself busy around the house and work on some things in the garage and tinker around, and I just haven't done really nothing like that. Shoot, I had to pay the boy next door to mow the lawn, and I just can't seem to get up.
So some of the things that you really enjoyed doing, you're not really getting enjoyment from anymore.
No, not at all.
Now, how about, have you had any thoughts of hurting yourself or killing yourself or anything?
No, no, nothing like that. I would never even consider something like that. But I've been feeling kind of hopeless and
Yeah,
helpless, and just kind of miss her, and feel
yeah,
like I don't want to be a burden on my kids, because when I get older and sick, and there'll be no one like her here to take care of me like I was here for her. So
yeah.
I'm kind of just been drinking more and more.
Well, it's a tough transition. I mean, you had a long, nice marriage with this wonderful woman. You took care of each other, and now that she's passed, it's hard to enter that next phase of your life without her. So maybe part of our work together can be helping you transition from this wonderful life you had to another life that can be just as wonderful, but it's going to be different. Now, there's a couple of things we can talk about right away. One, depression, which you certainly have, that can be helped with medication. It's not going to take away your feelings of loss. It's not going to take away the grief, but it can help you work through it. We can also talk about some medication to help you sleep better. Because if you are drinking until you fall asleep, you are getting sleep, but it's not what they call a good sleep. You're not getting that deep sleep. So, do you wake up feeling refreshed, or you just wake up like, here we go again?
I feel pretty groggy in the morning and
Yeah.
a little bit sick, and
Okay.
some days, if I don't kind of just ease into it, I get a little shaky and a little lightheaded and feel a little sick, and
Okay.
so yeah, I definitely don't feel like I used to.
Okay. So it could be that if, for a while we help you with a little medication that help you get a good sleep, something to kind of help what they call stabilize your mood, just kind of help makes things a little bit easier. But then there's some other things. You mentioned you used to like to go out and do things, maybe not so much with people, but to get out of the house.
Hmm.
Um, and there are some other things that you might consider that can get you out of the house at the same time helping you. One thing you mentioned with your drinking, that it's sounds like it's kind of getting a little out of hand. Maybe you're using it in a way that you really is not helpful, but you're not quite sure what to do about it. You might consider going to an AA meeting. There's several in town. I can give you a list if you like. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but what it is people who have decided that alcohol is not doing them any favors. And part of it is talking about that, talking about coping, but a big part of it is being out with other people who have similar challenges. So what they usually do is you go, you can speak if you like. If you don't want to speak, you can just listen. They usually give you what's called a sponsor. That's somebody to help you through the process. Um, it might be helpful for two things or three things. One, get you out of the house. Two, get to learn about, things that you could do instead of alcohol. And three, get you to socialize a little bit. Now, there's some other alternatives. We have a group that meets every Saturday afternoon. They call themselves the Next Step Club. And what it is people who have lost spouses or partners, and they're trying to make that transition to the next step of their lives. So there are people who've been through similar things as you've been through, and they meet to talk about it. They meet just to kind of also get out of the house. They also have some other activities. I know that they do third Friday movie nights, which is they get together every third Friday night of the month to get to do some movies. Um, you mentioned your family. That might be something. They've lost their mom, your kids have, so they may want to talk to you. So I know I'm throwing a lot of this at you, but just to let you know that there are some things that might help. Um, Another thing is we could get together once a week, talk about how you're doing, talk about how this medication is helping you. Do you think any of that might be helpful?
I do. I think that getting out definitely would be good for me. I just don't know if I've got really kind of the energy right now. I know the
Yeah,
doc said I needed to eat more and take some vitamins, and I think taking some medicine from you too would be
might
helpful.
help.
So maybe if I felt a little better, then I could get up and go to some of these things you're talking about. So maybe for now we could just maybe try some of the medicine, especially to sleep. I think that would be a good
Yeah,
idea. I don't really want to keep drinking, but
yeah,
and then to maybe coming back around
that'd
every
be
week or
great.
so if that's all right.
That'd be wonderful. Let me ask
Okay.
you, was your wife the cook in the family? Do you cook for yourself, or are you kind of eating out of boxes?
I'm a pretty good cook. We shared
Okay.
the work with the kids and stuff, but it's just me, so I don't really see the need. But to be honest, I mean, I wasn't really hungry, so I was just
Yeah.
not really eating. I had a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe a piece of toast, and then I'd drink. That was about it.
Yeah, the reason I asked is we do have a local chapter of Meals on Wheels. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but what they do is they come every day and they leave a meal. Um,
Well, that'd
and
be nice.
well, we could get you linked up with that. Usually
Yeah.
they come around noon, and I've actually volunteered with them, and they have some good food there. They also sometimes will give you some extra, like they partner with Panera. I don't know if you know them, they're the bread people, but Panera gives a bunch of leftovers. It's not stale leftovers, it's like they made it the night before, that they'll also give. So it might help to kind of get some food in the house so that you don't feel like you have to keep going out shopping, and you can kind of conserve your energy maybe for some of these other activities.
Okay. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about some medication you can try. I'd like you to try it, and then you can come back next week and we'll talk about how it went. I'll give you a little bit of literature to look over, but I think maybe if we do baby steps, just try a couple things. Um, and hopefully we can get you so that this is a second phase in your life. I mean, you're never going to stop missing your wife, and you shouldn't
Oh no.
stop.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. She sounds lovely,
She
but
was amazing.
good. But maybe we can start looking at some other things that'll bring you some joy in your life.
Okay. That sounds like a plan.
You just disappeared. There you are.
I did. I lost connection for a second.
That
So
that was funny. That
okay.
was like the perfect ending, like done.
I know, right? I was like, what's going on here? So okay, that was
Okay.
good.
Yeah, that was good.
I forget we have to go back and like do our improvements from our journal entry for the first one. We'll
I
figure it
thought it over for 2 hours, and this is how I would improve. But
out.
every time is going to be different anyway, you
Right,
know.
right. I agree. And I just think it's more, I mean, I think it's definitely along the path of being empathetic on that level,
Yeah,
just offering the support.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
all right. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Hi, Jim. How are you today?
Hi. I don't know. My doctor sent me here and said that you might be helpful. I don't know. I've never done this therapy thing. I'm not really a talker. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like people. I don't like to talk to them. I don't like to be around them. My doctor just said I needed to come here, and here I am.
It
So,
sounds like something's brought you in today, and I'd like to help figure that out with you.
yeah,
Definitely glad you came in to see me. I know it takes a lot to come in and sit in this chair here and meet new people,
well,
especially if you
thank
don't
you.
like people very much. So I do appreciate that. So tell me, how have you been feeling lately?
Um, I haven't been feeling good at all. I might as well tell you, I was married for 50 years. My wife passed away 6 months ago.
Oh my
And,
goodness, I'm so sorry.
well, thank you. It's just been downhill ever since then. I mean, I'm not a people person. I go to work and I come home, and she was just the person who everybody would go to. Everybody loved her. I loved her. She did everything for me. And now I get up in the morning, and there's really not a big reason to get up other than feed the dogs. Um, there isn't
Mm-hmm.
anything really going on. I sit and I watch TV. I watch that game show network, kind of like that. But sometimes I forget to eat. Sometimes I realize it's gone 6 o'clock at night and I haven't gotten dressed yet. I really can't sleep, so I just get me a 6 pack of Bud, and I just kind of drink beer after beer, and then I finally fall asleep and wake up a couple hours later, drag myself to bed, and get up and do it all over again. It's just, I guess if I could sum it up in a word, I'm lonely. It's God unbearable. I mean, that woman was my whole world, and now she's gone, and what am I left with? Nothing.
Gosh,
Gone.
sounds like you've been going through a lot these last 6 months, and sounds like you loved your wife very, very much.
She's alive my life. Honey, we met when we were in grade school,
Oh,
and we could
wow.
not wait to get married. We got married the day after we graduated high school. We had over 50 years together. We had 4 kids. We got 8 grandkids. Now, I don't really do much. She kept up with them. I mean, I was just the grandpa that was sitting there in the chair watching the kids, but she did all the cooking and cleaning. She took care of everybody. She volunteered at the church. And, I'd tag along to carry a box or something. But now, I mean, there ain't nothing to carry along with. And I'm just sitting in my chair watching the world go by, and I'm just lonely. People came to see her, they didn't come see me, and I can't really call nobody because what am I gonna say? I mean, I don't like people much, but I kinda like being around them, I guess, but I don't know what to do.
Well, it definitely sounds like your wife was an amazing woman and many people
She
loved her.
was. She
Yeah, and you
was.
sound like
You'd
you have a
love her.
huge family too, and 4 kids and 8 grandchildren, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they enjoyed having you around, even if you were just sitting back,
Well,
being
I guess.
grandpa.
But she handled all that. I mean, the holidays coming up, and by this time, she'd have everything ready. She'd have a bunch of Christmas gifts ready. She'd have everybody organized for Thanksgiving. And I mean, I don't know how to do none of that. I don't know what anybody's doing. I don't know. I mean, I guess the phone number's around, but I haven't really called nobody since the funeral. And I guess I don't want to be that person that calls and says, well, invite me to Thanksgiving supper if I haven't even talked to you. I mean, it's just sometimes I think there's no reason to get out of bed.
Well, it definitely sounds like you're going through a lot of grief and loss because you really loved your wife so much, and I
Yes.
believe that anybody in your shoes would feel that way, especially being with someone for so long and loving her so much. That's just a true testament to your devotion and relationship.
He
Now,
did have a great marriage.
Have you had any contact with the children at all?
Well, they was at the funeral, as can imagine. And my one daughter, now she stayed with me for a week afterwards, and kind of helped me get the house in order. I didn't really want to do much. I just closed the door to my wife's closet, and I was like, I can't deal with any of that stuff. Um, And my other daughter, she'll call to check on me, and a couple of my daughter-in-laws do, but I mean, I'm not really much for talking. They don't live too far away. I guess I could go over there, but I just don't have the energy. I mean, it's gonna sound silly, but it's the truth. It's hard to even drive because we'd be driving and I'd do all the driving and she'd say, "Now don't forget, we're gonna turn at this street. And don't forget, we're gonna do this." And I know how to get there, but it's kind of lonely driving with just the radio and nobody to, tell me to slow down or don't go through that yellow light. So
Sounds
it's
like she did a lot for you. She loved you very much. Yeah.
she sure
Well,
did.
it sounds like, Jim, to me that there's kind of a couple of things that you mentioned that I'd like to just clarify and make sure that I understand you correctly.
Okay.
So one of the things I heard is that you're not getting real good sleep, so you're having to drink a lot to
Yeah.
sleep, and even then, that sleep doesn't sound real good. A couple of hours, and then you're getting up and going to bed, and kind of feeling restless and tired.
Well, I'll
Other
be
thing.
honest,
Mhm.
it also helps just shut my mind off
Mm.
because everything's a memory. We've been in the same house for 48 years.
Oh,
We've
wow.
raised the kids in that house, and everywhere you look, there's a memory. So even sitting there watching my TV, I'll remember how we used to talk and joke and all this and that. And it the alcohol just turns off my mind. I mean, there's good memories, but there's always the memory that she's not there no more.
Mhm.
I'll be watching Wheel of Fortune, and she used to yell out the answers, and I used to tease back and forth. Well, don't yell till I get a chance. And there ain't nobody yell those answers out. And you don't know. You're young. You don't know. You're gonna miss that.
Mhm.
So I drink the alcohol, and it turns off my brain.
Well, I couldn't imagine what you're going through after having her around for so long, and having her, really handle a lot of those things. And, you loved her very much. And
I
I do
still
hear
do.
those. Yes, of course you do. And it sounds like, too, it's just kind of really made you sad because you're dealing with the loss and grief of your beautiful wife.
Yes.
And it sounds like to me, too, that there's definitely some depression there, that you've kind of had difficulty doing things for yourself, getting up and taking showers and eating and getting motivated to do things. So,
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to let you know is that alcohol actually is a depressant. And when you already feel depressed and you drink, it actually can make you feel worse. So it kind of creates like a cycle every day, going worse and worse instead of getting better and better. And it's completely understandable that, what you're going through now, after so many years of loving this amazing woman, it's very understandable that you would experience large amounts of grief and loss and sadness because you miss her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had
Yeah.
any thoughts of really feeling down to the point where maybe you thought about hurting yourself or hurting anyone else? Has anything
Oh,
like
no,
that
ma'am.
happened?
No,
Okay.
ma'am. I was raised up in the church and we raised the kids up in the church. And I know that one day we're going to be together again, but I also know that killing yourself is a sin. And if I did that, I would not be with her. And they say in the end, it's all a blink of an eye. It seems a lot longer now, but I know we're going to be together, but I ain't going to rush it or nothing.
Oh, good to hear. And and sometimes it's hard to see, that many other people need you when you're feeling real low. And you've got, kind of remember that you've got 8 beautiful grandchildren and 4
Yeah.
children that are also missing this amazing woman. And I think that they, if they were to lose you too, it would be even more devastating. And
Well,
I
I don't
bet
know
that
about
they
that
could.
part. She's the glue that held the family together. She's the matriarch. I wasn't much of a patriarch, but I do love them grandkids. We may not do much, but I do love them grandkids.
Well, I do
We got
think
some
it would
good
be a
grandbabies.
really. Oh, that's awesome. So you get to sit around and hold them and cuddle them and spoil them
Yeah.
and give them back, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And she used to just come in. They get cookies for dinner or whatever, and I used to just sit there and smile and watch them and just love them. And I mean, I guess it's just hard not having her with us to do that, but I do enjoy my time with them and I do enjoy my children. I
Well,
mean,
I think it's definitely something that you could do that would help improve your mood. And one of the things I'd like to do is, I know it can be hard initially, like right now, you're just not having a lot of energy and feeling very depressed, and it's hard
ma'am,
to get up and want to go over there and visit them. So I was thinking that maybe you and I could talk more about possibly starting an antidepressant, a little bit of medicine to help you feel less depressed and a little bit more energized and able to go about your day and not feel so sad. That maybe
that
you
sounds
could
like that'd
also,
be helpful.
yeah, and maybe something for sleep too, instead of having to drink every night. So maybe
Yeah,
we could get away from the drinking, which is also making the depression worse. I think that
yeah.
would really be a good plan if you're in agreement with that.
Well, I agree. I don't think that she would approve of the drinking. And
Hmm.
I'm just doing it just to get some sleep. But if you got something else that can help me sleep and then maybe, get me some better sleep and maybe something put a little giddy up in my go, that would really be helpful.
Absolutely. I think we could definitely help you out with that. And then the other thing I'd like to talk with you about is having you come in at first, initially, maybe weekly, to come see me, and we can talk more like this, kind of process through the grief and loss of your beautiful wife. We also have a couple other options too that I'd like to see as you start to feel better and you get out more. There's groups in the communities and probably in your local church where people are like newly single, or don't have a partner, or even just going through some grief and loss themselves, where you could maybe come together and talk to other people that are going through the same thing that you're going through. I think that would be really helpful. And also another piece to that, since there's been kind of this pattern of drinking every night for the past 6 months, that might be something that might be a little difficult for you to just stop doing cold turkey. So I would really also encourage you to possibly go to some of the Alcohol Anonymous meetings. I'm not saying that you're an alcoholic, but sitting around other people that may also have kind of gone down this path when they've lost a loved one, to get some good support to keep you from continuing to drink. They provide sponsors, someone that you kind of buddy up together with that kind of holds you accountable. It's really nice because sponsors can be available. Let's say, you start the medicine today and you go home, and even though you've got the stuff to sleep, it might be hard for you not to drink. That would be a perfect opportunity that you would call the sponsor and kind of talk through it to keep you from continuing to drink. So several
Well,
different options.
all that sounds good. I told you it's onset. I'm just not one of them people person, but I do like talking to you. I'm going to be honest. I had my qualms. I thought, I don't know, this lady going to help me. And I come in and I look at you and I think, man, she ain't dry behind the ears yet, but you seem pretty smart. Now, I, I do like talking to you. I would like to try the medication. And in the church they got one of them AA groups. I don't want to do a whole lot at once because I feel like it's just a lot. But I would like if you could help me out with the medication, and I'd really like to come back and talk to you again a couple times. Um, why don't we start there? Does that sound
Okay.
okay? I mean,
Yeah.
I think I thought I'd be honest with you. I thought that my doctor was crazy, make me come here talk to some head doctor. I thought you wouldn't know what you're talking about, but I think this could really be helpful. I
Well,
feel a little
good.
better just talking to you.
That's great to hear, Jim. And I'm really thankful that you were able to come in today and trust in me and work with me on this. I think we definitely can reach out and brainstorm together to get you feeling good and processing past your loss. And one of the things I'd like to see for you, if you, as the next week or two go by, I know Thanksgiving's coming up with Christmas, and too, I'd like to give you a little bit of homework. I always like to give my clients homework.
Homework.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think it's just something over the next week before we visit again before Thanksgiving. I'd like to see if you could maybe find it time where you're feeling a little better to pick up the phone and maybe reach out to your children. Probably, possibly plan something for the holidays. That
That
would be homework.
I'd like that. I sure do miss them. I mean, like I say, they call and check in on me, but that ain't nothing like being there. And they just might want to see my old face again, and I sure like to see theirs. So I tell you what, I feel better even without medication just in talking to you. I think I'm gonna go home, make a couple phone calls, just check in, see what everybody's up to. I think that could work. And I think that puts a smile on my face too. I think it
Well,
would.
good. That's great to hear. Well, let's make a plan of action and get you set up for a next appointment, and we'll talk through these medicines. Let's get you started today.
Okay, I appreciate your assistance.
Oh, you're very welcome, Jim. I'm glad you came in today.
Thank you. Let me stop this.